7 Israeli massacres have been committed in the Gaza Strip in the last 24 hours, claiming the lives of at least 66 people. Venezuela's executive vice president and international general coordinator of the Our Venezuela Campaign Command, Delcy Rodriguez, led a video conference with social and political movements worldwide to raise awareness of the Venezuelan reality. And in Argentina, social organizations denounced the paralysis of more than 1,000 public works and warned of massive layoffs of at least 25,000 workers. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Seven Israeli massacres have been committed in the Gaza Strip in the last 24 hours, claiming the lives of at least 66 people. According to medical sources, 383 Palestinians were injured after the seventh attack by the Israeli occupation forces. Most of the victims are women and children. Also, ambulances and rescue teams have not yet been able to reach the victims and corpses trapped under the rubble, and Israeli forces continue to block the arrival of ambulances and other civil protection teams. In addition, medical sources confirmed that the number of casualties has risen to more than 36,000 documented deaths and approximately 81,000 Palestinians injured during the constant attacks committed by the Israeli forces since October. The Israeli genocide on the Gaza Strip continues to be an unprecedented and shameful chapter in the history of humanity. Our correspondent Huda Hegazi brings us details of the latest bombing in the area.
I'm at this moment in the northwest of the governorate of Rafah, in the south of the Gaza Strip, and exactly in the point that was bombed yesterday by the Israeli army, here in the barracks of the UNRWA, in the governorate of Rafah, this area that the Israeli army announced a little less than a week ago that it was safe and where thousands of Gazans proceeded to evacuate, and that yesterday was unfortunately bombed by the Israeli army. As we are seeing, this area, which was made up of thousands of tents, even barracks where food and humanitarian aid were stored, has been bombarded by the Israeli army, and as we are seeing on our screens, everything is burned, everything is destroyed. According to eyewitnesses, this area was bombarded by approximately 8 missiles, causing the destruction of hundreds of tents and the death of more than 35 Gazans, as well as the injury of approximately 100 of them.
La muerte de más de 35 gazatíes, además de la lesión de aproximadamente unos 100 de ellos.
As we are seeing, everything has been burned, everything has been destroyed, even all the victims have been completely dismembered due to the force of the bombardment, and it must be said that among the victims there are women, there are children, there are newborn babies. That is what Israel has done in a genocide against the innocent civilians here in the Gaza Strip.
Hecho Israel es un genocidio contra los civiles inocentes aquí en la franja de Gaza.
This area not only evacuated Gazans, but also a warehouse for the food and humanitarian aid that UNRWA was to distribute to the evacuated Gazans. And as we are seeing on our screen, even the food and humanitarian aid has been targeted by shelling. This area that Israel supposedly implemented that was safe and where thousands of Gazans proceeded to evacuate at this instant is no longer safe. Gazans are even starting to dismantle their tents to flee elsewhere, but we are assured that there is nowhere safe here in the Gaza Strip. Now let's talk to one of the Palestinians who witnessed the attack. Please, tell us exactly what happened here. Where are you from? Why you came here and what you plan to do next?
We are from the north. We came to Rafah after we lost everything in the bombings. We lost our house, our business, our money, everything. We were forced to move to the south because we were told it was a safe area. We arrived in the south, in Rafah, and in Rafah they attacked us too. Then we fled to there. From there we went back to Rafah. Everything seemed normal. Then last night we were in peace, all the family and the neighbors, and suddenly 2 missiles fell and made it look like an earthquake that shook all of Rafah. People were running desperately because of the attacks. Bodies were dismembered. We went out to see if we could rescue anyone, and we only found dead bodies torn to pieces, apart from the injured, who are countless. Where can we go now? There is no such thing as a safe place left. Even if they tell us that there is a safe place, in reality it is not. You can't believe the Jews. If they tell you a place is safe, you can't believe them. They sent us here, to this place, saying it's peaceful, and suddenly they bombed it. Where are we going to go?
Gazans claim they don't know where to go because every place Israel claims is safe is attacked after they settle there. The displaced Palestinians claim that there is not a single safe place in Gaza Strip. This attack was condemned because it happened after the Supreme Court ruled that Israel should stop the military operation in Rafah Governorate. Even after the decision, Israel is committing this atrocious massacre against the civilian Gazans in the Gaza Strip. And therefore, it is condemned at this moment that the international community is asked to intervene in order to stop this kind of crime that Israel is committing against the innocent civilian population in the Gaza Strip for more than 8 consecutive months.
The Spanish Minister of Foreign Affairs, José Manuel Álvarez, stressed that recognizing the state of Palestine is justice for the Palestinians. During a press conference held on Sunday, together with the Palestinian Prime Minister Mohamed Mustafa, the head of the Spanish diplomacy indicated that the Palestinian people have the right to have a state, just like the people of Israel. In this context, on Tuesday, May 28th, Spain, Ireland, and Norway will officially recognize the Palestinian state. For the time being, Israel has withdrawn its ambassadors from Madrid, Oslo, and Dublin, while the Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz said he would prevent the Spanish diplomatic missions in the occupied territories from providing services to the Palestinians. In Guatemala, representatives of social organizations marched in one of the country's emblematic avenues to demand an end to genocide and in solidarity with the people of Palestine.
Demonstrators waved many Palestinian flags on the Avenue La Reforma in Zone 10 of Guatemala. Social organizations raised their voices to condemn and demand the State of Israel to stop the genocide in Palestine.
Because it's the core bond we have with Palestine, the genocide triggered and sponsored by the United States and Israel. Since the same attitudes they have had in Palestine for years were the ones that came here to Guatemala.
Some participants identified themselves as survivors of the genocide in Guatemala, including some militants of the political party of the Guatemalan National Revolutionary Unity URNG-MAIs.
We are a left-wing party. We've gone through similar situations as those of Palestinians. Our country also experienced an armed conflict, in which Israel played a murderous role as well.
Protesters further demanded that the government of Bernardo Arevalo break off diplomatic relations with the State of Israel, as other nations worldwide have done.
Living in harmony with a country that does not respect humanity, why shall we have relations with them? We have no reason to maintain relations with a genocidal country. Hence, we invite the government of Guatemala and Guatemala citizens to take some action. Here it helps to press our state to break off relations relations with a country that does not give us any benefit.
Guatemala
is among the 143 countries that on May 10, 2024 voted in favor of the inclusion of Palestine in the United Nations.
Recognizing a people who's had the right to be a state and a country is the minimum we can do, and we stand very much behind this governmental stance.
Attendees issued a statement in which they acknowledged the diplomatic struggle of the Palestinian state, which allowed for its recognition and relations with other countries in the world.
Santiago Botón, teleSUR, Ciudad de Guatemala.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. Venezuela's Executive Vice President and International General Coordinator of the Our Venezuela Campaign Command, Delcy Rodriguez, led a video conference with social and political movements worldwide to raise awareness of the Venezuelan reality. During this first sectoral meeting, Rodriguez emphasized that unity and collective work are fundamental to face the new challenges of democracy. The Venezuelan Executive Vice President also assured that the nation continues to move on in spite of the 930 unilateral coercive measures imposed by the U.S. government. 500 people were online during the meeting that also showed a nation's electoral schedule for the general elections to be held in July.
To that, we have to add the media blockade, the banning that's going on in the social media, and, as I was saying, the dictatorship of the algorithms. You have said it's an election that they will discredit. Monica said it, Gloria said it too. They would discredit the elections because in reality they are not in the elections. They are forging a fraud. This perception that you have that they are going to discredit the process, they are going to call it a fraud because they know that they don't have the votes, and they are getting ready for that. And they are preparing their communication strategy for that, to feign a victory. Here the only victory will be the victory of the Venezuelan people, an anti-imperialist victory.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Nicaragua, Denis Moncada, expressed his gratitude to the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, for the struggle in defense of the rights and sovereignty of the Venezuelan people.
Unidos continuamos en la lucha.
We remain united in the struggle to ensure new popular victories, the brotherly Venezuelan people under the leadership of Comrade Nicolás and with the support of the Venezuela Nuestra Campaign Command. Reaffirms in the elections the rights initiated in the Bolivarian Revolution guided by Commander Hugo Chavez and Comrade Nicolás Maduro. We recognize and applaud the sustained efforts of President Maduro and the Venezuela Nuestra Campaign Command in the fight for the defense of sovereignty, self-determination, and the rights of the Venezuelan people. In Argentina, social organizations denounced the paralysis of more than 1,000 public works and warned of massive layoffs of at least 35,000 workers following salary cuts imposed by the government of Javier Milei. Members of the Construction Workers Union in the country demonstrated in the city of Comodoro Rivadavia to demand the reactivation of public works and the hiring of 15% of the unemployed. On the other hand, different social organizations warned that with the paralyzation of public works, crime and drug trafficking will increase. The national government recognized the halt in construction but denied the increase of layoffs. The government of Argentina complied with the warning of review the trust funds to definance the socio-urban integration plan, a policy aimed at carrying out works in the 44,000 popular sectors throughout the country. Meanwhile, social organizations demand compliance with Law 27,453 that seeks to guarantee the socio-urban integration of the settlements that were surveyed since 2016. According to official data, about 6.5 million people live in popular sectors. Over 60% of them do not have electricity, 92% do not have access to drinking water, and another 97% are not connected to the sewage system.
On the other hand, while Milei travels to the United States for the fourth time in 5 months, a social crisis begins to unfold in Argentina as a result of his state policies, such as the closing of factories and the resulting reduction in consumption and increase of massive protest. So far, more than 10,000 employees have been dismissed by the government and 7,000 workers have been affected by the paralyzation of public works. Likewise, the conflict is intensifying due to the teachers, police and health personnel strikes. On the other hand, public employees demand salary increases and national radio journalists reject the privatization of the radio and the closing of their stations. Social movements are asking for food and social aid due to the strong food crisis that the country has been going through since the arrival of Milei. In Brazil, more than 44,000 families whose properties were destroyed by floods in Rio Grande do Sul will receive monetary aid from the federal government to rebuild their properties. The Ministry of Social Development opened a digital platform to facilitate the online data entry for the affected families to receive the economic aid. Likewise, the municipalities have been sending the families' registrations to the ministry since last Wednesday. In this context, the announcement was made after President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva stated the measure, which consists of a one-time payment of over $900,000 for the affected families in Rio Grande do Sul. In Antigua and Barbuda, 37 nations vulnerable to the consequences of climate change are meeting in the 4th International Conference on Small Island Developing States. The meeting is aimed at assessing the capacity of small island developing states to achieve their development, an aspect encompassed by the 2030 Agenda and its Sustainable Development Goals. These nations, which occupy less than 0.5% of the global land surface, are distributed in the following regions: the Caribbean, the Pacific and Atlantic, the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea. Data from the event's official website underscores that these countries contribute less than 1% of global greenhouse gas emissions, yet they suffer disproportionately from the impacts of climate change. We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced on Monday that Moscow would sharply increase gas deliveries to Uzbekistan. Russia has important energy projects with neighbors in the region as they face energy shortfalls despite having their own gas and oil resources. During a meeting with Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev in Tashkent, Putin said work is underway to increase gas volumes to Uzbekistan to 11 billion cubic meters next year. Launched in 2023, Russia gas deliveries transiting via a pipeline that crosses Kazakhstan, which came online during the Soviet era, are due to reach 3.8 billion cubic meters this year.
Work is currently underway to increase the capacity of the Central Asia Center pipeline system, which will allow increasing the volume of gas pumped to Uzbekistan to 11 billion cubic meters next year.
On Monday, Chinese Premier Li Qian met with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol, in which the premier stressed to keep peace and stability on the Korean peninsula.
China's always been committed to maintaining peace and stability on the Korean peninsula and promoting the process of political settlement on the peninsula. We hope that relevant parties will exercise restraint and prevent further complications of the situation on the Korean peninsula. China, Japan and South Korea should probably handle sensitive issues and differences, take into account each other's core interests and major concerns, practice the true multilateralism, jointly maintain security and stability in Northeast Asia, and promote regional and world peace.
After an intense day, the closing ceremony of the International Film Festival took place on May 25th at Cannes.
With an impeccable closing ceremony, the 77th edition of the Cannes Film Festival came to an end. During the last day, the work of artists was recognized with several tributes and the awarding of the Palme d'Or, the festival's highest prize. With 22 films in competition, this edition was marked by the return of Francis Ford Coppola and Kevin Costner. Megalopolis, the film that took Coppola more than 40 years to prepare, cost him more than $100 million to make, was the one with which the director opted for his third Palme d'Or. However, the result was not as expected. While Kevin Costner, who had not directed a film for 20 years, took a gamble at the festival with the premiere of Horizon, an American saga, which was well received by the audience. Among all competing films, the favorite of the evening was the romantic comedy with social overtones Anora, presented by United States director Sean Baker, which won the Palme d'Or. The jury prize went to the Franco-Mexican co-production directed by Jacques Audiard, Emilia Perez, as well as the award for Best Female Performance for the ensembles of actresses in the film Carla Sofia Gascon, Zoe Saldana, Selena Gomez, and Adriana Paz. This year's honorary Palme d'Or award went to the renowned American actress Meryl Streep, to George Lucas, the American filmmaker best known for creating the Star Wars saga, and to the Japanese animation studio Ghibli, which has enchanted moviegoers for 39 years. Other festival's awards include the Camera d'Or for the best first feature film in all of Cannes, won by Armand, by Norwegian filmmaker Halvdan Uchman Thunder, screened in the session Un certain regard, and in the short film session, the Palme d'Or went to The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent by Croatian film director Nebojša Sliješić.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.